You wake early. You plan your day with clarity. By noon, you have abandoned it. Not because the plan was wrong, because your mind convinced you otherwise. It whispered comfort when you needed movement. It offered distraction when you needed focus. It promised rest when you needed discipline, and you obeyed it. This is not laziness. This is treason. Your mind, the tool meant to serve you, has become your master, and you submit willingly every time it speaks. The samurai understood this. They called it munen muso, the undisciplined mind, the enemy within. They trained not to sharpen their swords, but to sharpen their command over the self. Miyamoto Musashi spent his life mastering one thing: obedience. Not his obedience to others, his mind's obedience to him. You do not lack goals, you lack governance. Today, that changes. This is Discipline Dojo. If you are here to train, subscribe. If not, leave now. You will encounter resistance today. You always do. When it arrives, you will speak one sentence aloud. Not to inspire yourself, to remind yourself who commands whom. Type this sentence in the comments. Nothing else. I govern my mind. Chapter 1. The mind is not your ally. Musashi wrote, "Do not let your spirit be influenced by your body, nor your body be influenced by your spirit." He meant this. Your mind will betray you if you trust it blindly. It is not designed to make you stronger. It is designed to keep you safe. Comfort is its compass. Survival is its only mission. When you decide to train, it warns you of fatigue. When you choose discipline, it offers reasons to delay. When you commit to change, it catalogues every past failure and presents them as evidence of future defeat. This is not malice. This is biology. Your mind evolved to conserve energy, avoid pain, and maintain predictability. Those instincts kept your ancestors alive. They do not keep you excellent. The modern world does not reward survival. It rewards mastery. And mastery requires a mind that obeys, not one that governs. Most men spend their lives negotiating with their thoughts. Musashi spent his life commanding them. He did not ask his mind if he should train. He trained, and his mind followed. He did not debate whether discipline was worth the discomfort. He acted, and the discomfort became irrelevant. This is the first principle. Your mind is not your ally. It is your servant, and it must be trained to obey. You do not convince it. You do not inspire it. You override it. When it says stop, you continue. When it says rest, you sharpen. When it says negotiate, you act without discussion. This is not cruelty. This is clarity. A sword does not decide when to cut. A horse does not choose its direction. A mind does not determine your actions. You do. Chapter 2. Obedience begins with refusal. Musashi fought 60 duels before the age of 30. He never lost. Not because he was faster, not because he was stronger, because he refused to obey fear. Every duel began the same way. His mind offered him escape routes, reasons to delay, scenarios of failure. He ignored them all. This is the second principle. Obedience begins with refusal. Your mind will offer you options, comfort instead of action, delay instead of immediacy, negotiation instead of execution. You must refuse them. Not sometimes, not when convenient, every single time. This is not about motivation. Motivation is a feeling. Feelings are irrelevant. This is about protocol. When your mind says, "Start tomorrow," you refuse. You begin now. When it says, "This is too difficult," you refuse. You proceed anyway. When it says, "You deserve rest," you refuse. You determine when rest is earned. The untrained man believes his thoughts are instructions. The trained man understands they are suggestions. Suggestions can be dismissed. Musashi did not wait to feel ready. He did not delay until confidence arrived. He acted, and readiness appeared in the process. This is the pattern of command. Decide. Refuse distraction. Execute. No debate. No delay. No exception. Your mind will resist this. It will escalate its warnings. It will produce anxiety, frustration, discomfort. This is not evidence that you are wrong. This is evidence that you are training. A muscle resists weight. A mind resists discipline. Both adapt through repetition. You are not punishing yourself. You are teaching yourself obedience. Every refusal is a lesson. Every override is a victory. Do this long enough, and your mind stops offering excuses. It learns that resistance is futile. It begins to obey without protest. This is not theory. This is mechanics. Refuse the thought. Execute the action. Repeat until obedience is automatic. Chapter 3. The command must be singular. Musashi's swordsmanship was not complex. It was exact. One strike, one purpose, one outcome. He did not improvise mid-battle. He did not reconsider his stance. He decided before the duel began, then executed without deviation. This is the third principle. The command must be singular. Your mind cannot obey multiple masters. It cannot serve clarity and comfort simultaneously. Most men fail not because they lack discipline, but because they issue unclear commands. They say, "I will train today, unless I am too tired." They say, "I will focus, but only if I feel motivated." They say, "I will act when the time is right." These are not commands. These are negotiations, and negotiations produce hesitation, not obedience. Musashi gave his mind one instruction: strike when I decide, not before, not after, when I decide. His body obeyed because the command was absolute. You must do the same. When you decide to act, the command is singular. Act now. Not act now, unless. Not act now, but first. Not act now, when. Act now. The mind obeys clarity. It resists ambiguity. If you leave room for interpretation, it will interpret in favor of comfort. If you issue a command with exceptions, it will find exceptions endlessly. This is why most discipline fails, not because the action is difficult, but because the command is weak. A weak command produces weak results. A singular command produces obedience. When you wake, you do not negotiate whether to rise. You rise. When you train, you do not debate whether to begin. You begin. When you commit, you do not revisit the decision. You execute. One command, one action, no alternative. This is how the mind learns to obey. Chapter 4. Silence, the inner negotiator. Musashi spent years in isolation, not as punishment, as practice. He sat in caves. He meditated in forests. He lived for months without speaking to another human. He was not seeking peace. He was training his mind to stop speaking when not commanded to speak. This is the fourth principle. Silence the inner negotiator. Your mind produces thousands of thoughts each day. Most of them are useless. They are not insights. They are noise. Maybe I should wait. What if this doesn't work? I don't feel ready. This might be a mistake. These thoughts feel important. They are not. They are the mind's attempt to delay action and preserve comfort. The inner negotiator does not serve you. It serves itself. It wants you to remain predictable. It wants you to avoid discomfort. It wants you to stay exactly as you are. Every time you listen to it, you reinforce its authority. Every time you silence it, you reclaim yours. Musashi wrote, "Think lightly of yourself and deeply of the world." He did not mean humility. He meant this: your internal commentary is not profound. The world's demands are. Stop listening to your thoughts as if they are wisdom. They are echoes of past patterns, not maps of future action. When the inner negotiator speaks, you do not argue with it. You do not reason with it. You ignore it entirely. You issue your command. You execute. You move forward. The negotiator will speak louder. It will produce anxiety. It will warn of consequences. Let it. Anxiety is not a signal. It is interference. A radio does not obey static. A warrior does not obey noise. You train silence the same way Musashi did, through repetition. Each time the negotiator speaks, you act anyway. Each time it warns, you proceed anyway. Each time it offers delay, you begin anyway. Over time, it learns that its voice has no power. It stops wasting energy. It becomes quiet. This is not suppression. This is hierarchy. Your mind does not lead. You lead. Your mind follows. When you establish this order, the inner negotiator fades. Not because you destroyed it, but because you stopped feeding it. Silence is not emptiness. Silence is obedience. Chapter 5. Repetition builds authority. Musashi did not defeat 60 opponents through inspiration. He defeated them through repetition. He practiced the same strikes thousands of times, the same footwork, the same breathing, not until it felt natural, until it became involuntary. This is the fifth principle. Repetition builds authority. You cannot command your mind once and expect permanent obedience. The mind adapts through pattern, not through proclamation. Every time you override a thought and execute an action, you create a precedent. Every time you refuse delay and act immediately, you establish a standard. Every time you silence the negotiator and proceed anyway, you reinforce your authority. One act of discipline is a victory. 100 acts of discipline is transformation. The untrained man believes discipline is about grand moments. The trained man knows discipline is about mundane repetition. Musashi woke at the same time. He trained at the same time. He ate, rested, and sharpened his mind according to rhythm, not emotion. He did not decide each morning whether discipline was worth it. He had already decided. His only task was repetition. You must do the same. Choose one command, something small, something you can execute daily without exception. Not "I will transform my life," not "I will become disciplined." Choose one action. I will wake at this time, every day, no exception. Or, I will train for 10 minutes, every day, no exception. Or, I will sit in silence for 5 minutes, every day, no exception. The specific action is irrelevant. The repetition is everything. Your mind will test you. It will offer reasons to skip. It will produce discomfort. It will remind you of past failures. Ignore it. Execute anyway. Do this for 1 week, then 2, then 30 days. You are not building a habit. You are building authority. Each repetition is proof that your command matters more than your mind's resistance. Each repetition is evidence that you govern yourself. After 30 days, your mind stops resisting, not because it agrees with you, but because it has learned that resistance is futile. This is not about perfection. This is about consistency. A sword is not sharpened in 1 stroke. A mind is not trained in 1 decision. Both require repetition. Both require patience. Both require refusal to negotiate. Musashi spent decades refining his command. You will spend the rest of your life doing the same. This is not a burden. This is the path. Chapter 6. The moment of choice is brief. Musashi wrote, "In battle, if you make your opponent flinch, you have already won." He did not mean hesitation determines defeat. He meant this: the moment of choice is brief. Miss it, and the mind reclaims control. This is the 6th principle. The moment of choice is brief. Every action has a window, a split second where decision is possible. In that moment, you either act or negotiate, execute or delay, command or submit. Most men miss the window. They feel the urge to act, then pause to consider. They recognize the opportunity, then wait for certainty. By the time they decide, the moment has passed. The mind has constructed reasons to delay. The inner negotiator has resumed control. Musashi did not think during duels. He acted. His body moved before his mind could interfere. This was not instinct. This was training. He had practiced so many times that the command bypassed thought. The decision was pre-made. The action was automatic. You must train the same reflex. When the moment arrives, when you feel the urge to act, the opportunity to train, the impulse to begin, you do not pause. You do not consider. You do not evaluate. You do not wait for readiness. You act immediately. The window is 3 seconds, maybe 5. No more. If you delay beyond that, the mind activates. It produces doubt. It offers alternatives. It reminds you of comfort. And you submit. This is why most discipline fails. Not because the action is too difficult, but because the decision is too slow. Speed is not recklessness. Speed is clarity. You have already decided what matters. You have already established your command. The moment of choice is simply execution. When you feel resistance, act within 3 seconds. When you recognize delay, move within 3 seconds. When the inner negotiator begins to speak, execute within 3 seconds. Do not count. Do not prepare. Do not negotiate. Act. This is how Musashi defeated opponents before the fight began. He moved while they hesitated. He struck while they considered. The duel was over in the space between decision and delay. Your battle with your mind is the same. The moment of choice is brief. Act within it or lose command. Chapter 7. Discomfort is not injury. Musashi lived most of his life in discomfort. He slept on bare ground. He trained in heat and cold. He fasted not for spiritual insight, but for endurance. He understood something most men refuse to accept. Discomfort is not injury. This is the seventh principle. Your mind cannot distinguish between pain and inconvenience. It treats both as threats. When you train, it signals fatigue. When you fast, it signals hunger. When you sit in silence, it signals restlessness. These are not warnings. These are complaints. The untrained man obeys them. He believes discomfort means something is wrong. He stops, adjusts, seeks relief. The trained man understands that discomfort is the cost of growth. It is not damage. It is adaptation. Musashi did not stop training when his muscles ached. He did not abandon discipline when his mind resisted. He did not seek comfort when discomfort arose. He continued. And his body, his mind, his spirit adapted. This is the pattern of all mastery. Discomfort precedes capability. You cannot build strength without resistance. You cannot sharpen focus without distraction. You cannot train obedience without defiance. The discomfort is not the problem. The discomfort is the process. Your mind will interpret this as suffering. It will tell you to stop. It will offer rest as a solution. You must distinguish between injury and inconvenience. Injury is sharp, specific, localized. It signals actual damage. Discomfort is dull, generalized, temporary. It signals adaptation in progress. When you feel discomfort during discipline, you do not stop. You observe. Is this pain or complaint? Is this damage or growth? Is this injury or resistance? If it is injury, you adjust. If it is discomfort, you continue. Musashi trained this discernment through experience. He pushed his body until he understood its limits. He sat with his mind until he understood its patterns. He learned that most of what he called suffering was simply unfamiliarity. The first time you sit in silence, your mind will scream. It will produce anxiety, restlessness, urgency. This is not evidence that silence is harmful. This is evidence that your mind has never been commanded to be still. The discomfort is temporary. The obedience is permanent. If you stop every time discomfort arises, you never train your mind. You only reinforce its authority. If you continue despite discomfort, you teach your mind that its complaints are irrelevant. Over time, the discomfort fades, not because the action becomes easier, but because your tolerance increases. This is the mechanics of discipline. Exposure reduces resistance. Musashi was not immune to discomfort. He simply refused to obey it. You must do the same. When your mind signals discomfort, acknowledge it. Then proceed anyway. The signal will repeat. Ignore it. Eventually, the signal weakens, not because the discomfort disappeared, but because your mind learned that signaling is pointless. This is not desensitization. This is mastery. You do not eliminate discomfort. You render it powerless. Chapter 8. The trained mind serves without question. Musashi spent the last years of his life in a cave. He did not retreat in defeat. He withdrew in mastery. He had nothing left to prove, no opponent left to face, no duel left to fight. He had achieved what most men never approach, a mind that served without question. This is the eighth principle. This is the destination. When your mind obeys you automatically, discipline is no longer effort. It is identity. You do not decide to act. You act because that is who you are. You do not resist delay. Delay is no longer an option. You do not silence the negotiator. The negotiator no longer speaks. This is not the result of one day of training. This is the result of years. Musashi did not command his mind through force. He commanded it through repetition, clarity, and refusal to negotiate. He trained it the way a master trains a horse, firmly, consistently, without anger or impatience. And eventually, the horse stopped resisting. Your mind will do the same, but only if you refuse to abandon the process. Most men train for a week, see no transformation, and quit. They expect obedience after a handful of overrides. This is not how training works. You do not earn obedience. You build it. Every time you act despite resistance, you lay one stone. One stone is invisible. 1,000 stones become a foundation. Musashi built his foundation, strike by strike, duel by duel, day by day. You will build yours the same way. One command, one refusal, one execution. Repeat it until the mind stops testing you. Repeat it until obedience is automatic. Repeat it until discipline is no longer a decision, but a reflex. This is not motivation. This is construction. You are not trying to feel different. You are building a different structure. The trained mind does not require inspiration. It does not need encouragement. It does not wait for conditions to align. It simply obeys. When you command it to wake, it wakes. When you command it to focus, it focuses. When you command it to act, it acts. This is not robotic. This is freedom. The untrained mind is enslaved to impulse, distraction, and negotiation. It spends its energy debating, delaying, justifying. The trained mind is free. It executes without hesitation. It serves without complaint. Musashi called this mushin, the mind of no mind, not emptiness, obedience so complete that thought becomes unnecessary. You do not think about breathing. You do not debate whether your heart should beat. Your body obeys automatically. Your mind can do the same, but only if you train it. This is not a metaphor. This is physiology. Neural pathways strengthen through repetition. Behavior becomes automatic through consistency. The mind you have today is the result of years of untrained thought. The mind you want requires years of disciplined override. There is no shortcut. There is no hack. There is only repetition. Musashi knew this. He did not seek faster methods. He committed to the process. You must do the same. The trained mind is not a gift. It is not genetic. It is not reserved for the disciplined few. It is available to anyone willing to refuse negotiation, repeat the command, and act despite resistance. This is the path. There is no other. You now understand the structure. Your mind will resist you today. It will offer delay, distraction, justification. You will override it, not because you feel ready, not because you feel motivated, because you have issued a command, and commands are not negotiable. This is your training. Choose one action, something you have delayed, something your mind has convinced you to avoid. You will execute it today, not tomorrow, not when you feel prepared. Today. No debate, no justification, no exception. When the moment arrives, you will act within 3 seconds. You will not pause. You will not reconsider. You will execute immediately. If your mind produces discomfort, you will observe it, then continue. If your mind offers reasons to stop, you will refuse them, then continue. If your mind warns of failure, you will ignore the warning, then continue. This is not a 7-day protocol. This is not a challenge. This is not temporary. This is a permanent standard. You will repeat this action every day. The same time. The same command. No exception. You will not wait to feel different. You will act, and the feeling will follow. You will not seek proof that this works. You will execute, and the proof will accumulate. 1 day becomes 1 week. 1 week becomes 1 month. 1 month becomes identity. This is how the mind learns to obey. Not through inspiration, through inevitability. Musashi did not become a master by deciding once. He became a master by refusing to renegotiate. You will do the same. Miyamoto Musashi fought his last duel at the age of 30. Not because he stopped training, because no one dared challenge him. His reputation was not built on strength, it was built on certainty. When Musashi decided to strike, he struck. No hesitation, no doubt, no internal debate. His opponents felt this. They saw a man whose mind and body moved as one. They recognized something they did not possess. Complete internal command. They lost before the duel began. You are not training to fight duels. You are training to live without internal rebellion. Most men spend their lives at war with themselves. Their mind wants rest. Their goals demand action. Their thoughts offer delay. Their commitments require execution. They lose this war slowly, one compromise at a time. You will not. You have learned the structure. You understand the principles. You know the process. Now you must execute. Not perfectly, not without resistance, but without negotiation. Your mind will test you. It will escalate its warnings. It will produce discomfort, doubt, and distraction. This is not evidence that you are failing. This is evidence that you are training. Every override is progress. Every refusal is victory. Every execution is proof of authority. Do this long enough, and your mind stops testing you. It learns that your commands are absolute. It learns that resistance is futile. It learns to obey without question. This is not cruelty. This is clarity. A tool that resists its purpose is useless. A mind that resists your command is the same. You are not punishing your mind. You are training it. Musashi spent decades refining this. He did not achieve mastery in a week. He did not expect transformation in a month. He committed to the process. He repeated the command. He refused to negotiate. And eventually, his mind became his greatest weapon. Not because it was powerful, because it was obedient. Yours will be the same. You have one task. Identify the action you have delayed, the discipline you have avoided, the command your mind has overruled. You will execute it today. No preparation, no planning, no waiting for the right moment. You will act within the next hour. If your mind resists, you will override it. If your mind offers delay, you will refuse it. If your mind warns you, you will ignore it. This is not optional. This is training. And training does not wait for permission. This is discipline, Dojo. Your mind does not command you. You command your mind. Begin now.